Hi everyone, I just finished the movie It Ends With Us and I have thoughts. It was a good film adaptation from the book, but I feel like they omitted a lot of things and that kind of annoyed me. So let's start with the opening scene. They did not begin with the rooftop, but rather Lily being at home in Plethora, Maine and going to her dad's funeral. And from the get-go, I believe that her mom was not that good at acting. It felt like very odd, the whole scene. It just felt very forced, and I feel like it would have had a bit more of an impact if it began with the rooftop scene. So after the funeral and after the speech that she didn't give, that's when we see her going to Boston, and then there's the rooftop scene. And I have to say, I'm a bit annoyed because it was not true to the book, especially the fact that when Ralph kicks the chair doesn't budge, but in the movie it does, and the chair just floats away, and I don't know, I feel like it would have been funnier if it didn't. Now let's talk about their actual conversation, which I felt it was a bit awkward, and she was so flustered and laughing a lot, and I was not sure sometimes what she was laughing at. It just felt very, very awkward. I understand they met for the first time, but it seemed to me that Ral was more in the role than Lily was. Plus, she was very flirty, which in the book I don't remember her being that way because she did not really look for a relationship. Like, I don't know, I feel like Blake portrayed Lily way different than in my head she was, in the book. I like that they kept the part where she tells him her full name and he was laughing. I mean, that was very funny and I liked it. But the thing is, when his phone called, for the medical emergency that he had and he had to go to the hospital, he did not take a picture of her, which I thought that was a big thing that was in the book and it didn't happen. One thing I really liked about the whole movie was the fact that the cinematics were amazing. I did enjoy it. Also, it was autumnal and that made me crave autumn so badly. Another thing that they omitted from the movie was the fact that Lily had those journals, the very famous journals addressed to Ellen, and they did not feature in the movie at all. And I feel like they were very, very important to the story. And I don't know, we just cut back to her with Atlas, and it was not really explained like why did we go back in time. Also, probably unpopular opinion, but I believe that young Lily and young Atlas was actually more believable than the older version of themselves. I feel like Blake was laughing a lot and she was a bit awkward and not really in the role, especially in the beginning. She did get into the role more as the movie went along, but in the beginning, I don't know, I was not a big fan of it. In a nutshell, young Lily was much better than adult Lily. When we got to the part where Lily opened her flower shop and Alyssa came in, their conversation was so underwhelming. I feel like it was more exciting in the book, and they're more like, girl, I know I'm looking for a job, and Lily was like, I'm not hiring, but it's okay, you can come. Like, it was more like that, but in the movie, it was a bit also slow. It was so slow, and when Lily was explaining why she likes flowers, I didn't understand it actually. I feel like she was also speaking very, very quiet. Basically, she stutters a lot and then goes quiet and then laughs. And she hires Alyssa and that's it. And you know how Lily wanted to go for a more morbid look of her flower shop? She didn't really explain why she wanted to go for that look for her flower shop and why not something like beautiful and alive. I feel like they omitted a lot. Seeing Ryle on the screen begging Lily for a kiss was as pathetic as it was in the books, but I feel like they could have took it a bit further because he did not knock on 29 doors. Like, I would have liked to see that happening, but he didn't. He just followed her around and just like saying, please, please. Oh, they did keep him going to her flower shop and being her first customer and writing on a piece of paper that, please make it stop. They did keep that. When Lily finally gave in and, allowed him to kiss her, it was actually quite funny because then she was like, okay, bye friend, and just call it a night, and they both went home. If there's one word that I would really, really describe this movie, especially the first part, is awkward. It was very, very awkward. Remember how I said that they did not keep the journals? The thing is, she was drawing. I don't remember really in the book drawing, and then there would be like flashbacks to the past. I guess that's how they were trying to change her having journals. But I don't really understand why they didn't keep it, especially because they were a big, big, big part of the book. Another thing that I found very funny was the fact that, how in the books when Ral was her first customer, at the flower shop at the grand opening, he actually paid by cash because, then she would frame the dollar and he would be like basically there forever, as that's the custom that you do when you open a new business. But in the movie, they actually had an ad for Capital One and he paid by card. at Teresa's birthday party, Colleen Hoover actually makes an appearance, and it's like a big, like a scene, like a full cameo. And then for the rest of the scene, actually, she sat behind, like, oh my god, sorry about that. Why was it so loud? They did keep what happened between Ryle and Lily that night. Basically, they didn't do anything, but they just went to sleep. And then in the next day, in the morning, when Lily went to the kitchen, Alyssa came by and she saw her. Then was like, oh no, this something happened, and warned her. Which I really like the fact that they kept that. I really like that Alyssa was a true girls in the book and in the movie as well. Two things they kept from the book regarding Atlas was the fact that, you know, she had the heart tattoo on her collarbone and also the wooden heart that he carved for her. But they did not keep the magnet. There was no magnet involved, and I think that was so important because it was about Boston, and that didn't make an appearance. Like, why keep the other two but not keep the magnet as well? I don't get it. The moment when Lily and Atlas met was actually so good, and it was exactly how I pictured it when I was reading the book. I think it was actually even better. I don't know, I really felt the emotion in the moment, and I enjoyed it. I loved it. Another thing that I didn't really understand why they kind of omitted was the fact that in the book, you know, it is mentioned that Alyssa struggles with infertility, but in the movie that was not mentioned. Just all of a sudden she announces her pregnancy and everyone is happy. Also, I don't remember, but I don't think she said how her kid was called, that they named it after Ryle and her name was Riley. That was never mentioned. And basically what happened is that Alyssa's birth was kind of overshadowed by the fact that Ryle proposed to Lily right there and then. So basically, Ryle was holding Riley, although it wasn't mentioned in the movie, and he got down on his knees in front of Lily and asked if, you know, if she wants to marry him. And then it was like, wait, can you give Alyssa the baby back and then you do it? I didn't really understand the whole moment. And they didn't go to Vegas. They just got married. Like, there was like just a scene showing them getting married, and then it just cut to Lily talking on her phone with her mom, and the mom complaining that she wasn't invited to the wedding and that she dreamed about it since Lily was young. Like, he was so rushed. Now onto the domestic violence scenes. I kind of like how they were done because it was quite clever. When they were happening the first time, it was kind of blurry, and they made it look like it was an accident. That, you know, when Ryle got the food from the oven, you know, and he touched it with his bare hands and got burned, like he just accidentally pushed Lily. When Lily was, you know, going down the stairs after him, he accidentally pushed her again. Like, it just looks like an accident, but later on it was actually be shown that it was not an accident, and it will show more of the scene and how he pushed her, he shoved her, he was mad, he was yelling, he was screaming. It will show way more, and I feel like that was very, very clever, and it made the movie so much more emotional and impactful. Another emotional scene was when they went back again to Atlas' restaurant, and he noticed that, you know, Lily had the bruise under her eye, and he urged her to leave Ryle. I don't know, I really wished that she listened, at least this time. And you know how they actually got into a fight because when Lily and Atlas were leaving the bathroom, Ryle was standing right, you know, outside the door and saw them, and then punches were thrown. The thing is that Lily actually pushed Atlas, like she was so strong, and I feel like I imagine it in the book that, you know, like she would just be like in the back, you know, kind of screaming for them to stop, but she was actually getting in between of them, and that kind of made me a bit scared for her. You know what else was omitted was that Atlas actually did not say to Lily that she sounds exactly just like her mom when she was defending Ryle, that saying that it was just like an accident, you know, it was nothing serious. And I feel like that was a bit important, and then again, they did not add it. And I feel like him saying that to her is very important because that's what makes her realize that she is just doing exactly the same thing that her mom did, which she should probably stop and break the generational trauma. You know what kind of broke my heart was seeing Lily trying to soothe Ryle after the incident, and she kept trying to, you know, to say to him like, it's okay, you know, like she's gonna be okay. Like, I'm not really talking to him, you know, nothing was happening. And I don't know, that felt more powerful to see it on screen than reading it in the book and imagining it in my head. He does leave his phone number and tells her that, well, here it is in case you need, and she says, oh, I won't. And then he said the quote from the book that, well, I hope you won't. Now to the most important part of the movie, when Ryle finds out about Atlas's phone number and also about the article. Oh, and by the way, the restaurant is not called Beep, you know, which basically is better in Boston. It's called Root, and I didn't really understand the reasoning behind that. I feel like Beep was way better. I must say that I understand. While Justin in some of his interviews said that it was very hard to play Ryle, because in that scene, especially, when it happened that night, that is Liz's breaking point, it was very traumatizing to see it on screen. But I think it was important that they kept it, true to the book and showcased it. After Lily manages to escape Ryle, she gets in the car, goes to Atlas's restaurant, and when he sees her, he's like, oh no. And then he takes her to the hospital, and that's when, they find out that she's pregnant, and she's so unsure what to do afterwards. And Atlas takes her to his place, and that's when, she realizes that there was no girlfriend on his part, and that he lied, and he was alone. And Lily's very down in the dumps because she's not sure what to do about the baby, what to do about her relationship with Ryle. And that's when Atlas says to the book, tells her that, Lily, you saved me once, and I'm sure that if anyone can push through this, anyone can do this, it's you. After a while, after she finds her footing and she goes back to the flower shop, Atlas says one of my favorite quotes, but he said it so quick in the movie and quite quietly. He was basically like, if you ever fall in love again, fall in love with me. Like, what was that? What was the emotion that I felt in the book, huh? But you know what they kept true to the book was the same with Alyssa when Lily tells her what happened to her. And Alyssa basically says, as his sister, I wish that you find a way to forgive him, but as your best friend, if you take him back, I'm not speaking to you ever again. And I just really, really enjoyed that they kept Alyssa a true girl's goal in the movie as well as in the book. Throughout Lily's pregnancy, Ryle just came over just to arrange the crib, exactly as in the book, and I like that they kept that. And also that they kept the fact that he was a bit pushy when Lily, let him, touch her belly and, feel the kicks. And then he was like, oh, let's be a family again and all that. And Lily was like, no, that's enough. Now you should go. You should go. I feel like one thing that was a bit rushed was her conversation, after she got pregnant with her mom about, this generational trauma. I feel like they did not spend as much time as they spend in the book on it, and I feel like they should have, because it was a very important talk, about like, oh, why did the mom stay with the dad when he was so abusive, and the mom urging her to not allow Ryle to do the same with her. I just feel like it was just like so short. It was just like a scene, and I feel like it should have been a lot more. Finally, the time came. Lily gave birth, and Ryle was there, and they still called her Emerson in the movie, exactly as in the book. And Ryle found that very sweet and touching. But the thing is, exactly as in the book, afterwards Lily's like, okay, we should get a divorce. And then came the very emotional scene of, Lily saying to her daughter that, it ends with us. And I liked it. I feel like Blake did such a good job during that scene, and it was as emotional as it was in the book. For the most part, they kept the ending of the movie similar to the ending of the book, except for one thing, which I'm very, very annoyed, and I don't understand why they did not put it in it. It's, the last quote that Atlas says to her, which is, you can stop swimming now, Lily. We finally reached the shore. He did not say that. I was just sitting there, in the cinema, just waiting and waiting, the ending credits were, happening, and just waiting. Like, how can you not put that? That is so, so important. I'm pissed. I'm pissed about it. Final thoughts, I believe this was an okay adaptation. I would probably rate it a 6 out of 10 in my opinion, just because they missed so many important scenes, so many important quotes, which I feel like you could have just, shoved it in there quickly. And I also believe that the acting could have been a bit improved, because it was very cringy at the beginning, and it took me a while till I got, into the universe of the movie. Well, that was my review of the movie, and if you're going to see it, please let me know your thoughts. Did you enjoy it? What did you think? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!